You guys, this is Jeff.
Good evening. My name is Pat Carr. I would like to welcome you to the 2015 State of the County Address. Thanks for being here this evening. I hope you all had enough food. I want to point out, before we go on with the proceedings, that the food is provided by the MLK Catering, which are our these are the kids who are learning the art of food service and food presentation, food preparation, and I think you'll agree with me that the Greek meatballs are the best you've ever eaten, ever. And if you have not yet had a macadamia nut white chocolate chip cookie, I'll give you 3 minutes to go get one. Well, they're gone? Oh, you saved one for me. Cool. Well, I'd like to call it's not a meeting. I've been admonished for calling things meetings before when they weren't meetings, but I'd like to call our proceedings to order this evening and begin with the presentation of the colors. Our colors tonight are being presented by Post 9448, American Legion from Veneta, and the commander tonight is Mike Byerland. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. You know, I'm a naturalized citizen of the United States. I moved here when I was 10 years old from England and became a U.S. citizen. I took a test to become a U.S. citizen. I swear I get misty-eyed every time I see the colors being posted and every time I say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you for joining me in that. I'd like to thank the Shasta Jazz Band this evening. Thank you very much, you guys. Mike Reese is the director of the Shasta Jazz Band, and Brady Cottle is the principal of Shasta, who is here tonight. Mike has done a wonderful job with this award-winning band. I'm going to say a little bit more about these guys a little bit further down after you've heard them play a little bit more music. But they are highly decorated, and this is their first day back in school. So the first day back in school after the break, and they're still right on. Thank you, guys. We have on our agenda this evening, we're going to be swearing in recently elected officials, among other things. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we did how we did last year as a county and what we're looking forward to in the coming year. But first, I'd like to introduce a few people who are in the audience, a few people who have taken the leap and gained election to public office. I have a list here, so it's in no particular order. So I'd like to introduce, if you would just stand up briefly, give a wave. Chris Pryor, Eugene City Councilor. Anne-Marie Lovitz, OJ School Board. James Manning, EWED Board of Directors. Mike Clark, Eugene City Councilor. Joe Pictionary, Springfield City Councilor. Tom Turner, Sheriff of Lane County. Dave Strom, Mayor of Cresswell. Matt Keating, LCC Board. Debbie Farr, Bethel School Board. Mike Cowles, the tax assessor. Mike is here. Carsten Rasmussen, judge, who may not be out in the audience right now, but you'll be seeing him soon. Christine Lundberg, Mayor of Springfield. Marilee Woodrow, Springfield City Councilor. Sherry Moore, Springfield City Councilor. And Mayor of Eugene, Kitty Piercy. Well, my scouts have been out and looked around the room for all the elected officials. Did I get everyone? George Polling, of course, George. I've been talking to him all night. George Polling, Eugene City Council. Spend the afternoon with George also. Now, there are a couple of other people who aren't currently elected, but who I would like to introduce. I'd like to introduce a dear old friend of mine, former County Commissioner Ellie Dumdye. And a great colleague of mine from Food for Lane County, Ron Detweiler, is here. Ron is the operations manager of Food for Lane County. When I became the executive director of Food for Lane County, Ron had been there a long time, and Ron is still there, and that was a long time ago. Ron moved over 8 million pounds of food this year to hungry families and people in this county. Let me say that again, 8 million pounds of food. That's a lot of food. Wow. If you haven't visited the warehouse, please do so. Thank you. I told Alicia that I was going to introduce board members. Alicia Hayes is here. And didn't I already introduce Anne-Marie Levis? Thank you. I spent a little bit of time on the school board myself, and during those days you usually don't get introduced, but you guys work harder than any other elected officials, there's no question about that. Then at this point in time, I would like to ask Mike Reeds to play a musical selection with Shasta Jazz Band. Tonight they'll be playing, okay to say it, Over the Rainbow and Song for My Father. Thank you. absolutely astounding. This is a group of 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds from Shasta Middle School in the Bethel School District. Thank you very much. You know, before we bring out the newly elected officials who are going to be sworn in, just a little bit about Shasta's Middle School's band. I'm so glad they performed as well as they did, because now I can fall flat on my face, but it'll still be a great evening, right? I first was involved with the Shasta Jazz Band when our son Evan played bass for the Shasta Jazz Band back in 1995, 94. So became very much involved with them at that point in time, and they are an award-winning jazz band. Now, this is the second time that I've called, I'm covering a little bit as they leave. The second time I've called Shasta Jazz Band to play for everybody. The first time was with the city of Eugene. Back in 1997 to 1998. It was on June 2nd, 1998. And June 2nd, you may or may not remember, followed June 1st. Okay, that's another significance. What happened on June 1st was there were a number of trees that had been cut down in a parking lot downtown, and there was some pretty widespread concern regarding that. And the night that Shasta Jazz Band played was the day after that had happened, and we had a number of people there for public testimony that night. And that city council meeting didn't end until tomorrow. Honestly, they left well past midnight that night. So I'm here to promise you that this second time that Shasta Jazz Band has played for a public body, that's not going to happen tonight. We're going to be home before midnight. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Tonight we will have the pleasure of introducing 5 elected officials who will be sworn in by Judge Carsten Rasmussen tonight. In a moment they'll be coming out. You'll be seeing Jay Bozovich, West Commissioner, Sid Lyken, Springfield Commissioner, Faye Stewart, East Commissioner, Michael Cowles, the Assessor, and Cindy Cable, Justice of Peace. Judge Rasmussen.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you and thank you for inviting me to do this important event this evening. Oaths and oath-taking actually have a long history of the Anglo-American world. They go back probably 1,200 years to public oath-taking, and of course, for us now in the American way of government, public oath-taking is a particularly important thing because it reminds not only us as office holders, but is a commitment to the public and a reminder to us all about the duties and the responsibilities that each of us as elected officials have to those who have entrusted us with the jobs that they have given us. So it is a great honor and it is a great privilege for me to be here today to administer the oaths. And I want to thank all of the commission and particularly the chair for inviting me to do this. We're going to do these individually, of course, one at a time. I'm told that there'll be an opportunity for comments at the end after all the oaths have been taken. And I'd like to inform you that I checked in with Commissioner Lyken. He told me he was hoarse and therefore for a change wouldn't have anything to say this evening. We're going to start with West Lane Commissioner Jay Bozovich. He'll come forward, Commissioner, and raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Jay Bozovich.
I, Jay Bozovich,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will carry out the duties
that I will carry out the duties
of office
of office
to
to
the best of my ability.
the best of my ability.
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Charter of Wayne County,
the Charter of Wayne County,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and honorably
and honorably
conduct myself
conduct myself
in the office of West Lane Commissioner, Position 1,
in the office of West Lane Commissioner, Position 1,
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. record, because that's how I always talk all day anyway, that I've signed it as well. Let's do Commissioner Riker next. Remember your other promise. I said like do solemnly swear. That I will carry out the duties of office to the best of my ability. I will support the Constitution of the United States of America. And the Constitution of the State of Oregon. The Charter of Wayne County. And the laws thereof. And I will faithfully and honorably conduct myself. In the office of Springfield Commissioner, Position 2. To which I have been elected. So help me God. Congratulations. That has a certain flair to it. And now my commissioner, Commissioner Stewart. Raise your right hand. I, Faye Stewart,
I, Faye Stewart,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will carry out the duties
carry out the duties
of office to the best of my ability.
of office to the best of my ability.
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Charter of Wayne County,
the Charter of Wayne County,
and the laws thereof.
and the laws thereof.
And I will faithfully and honorably
I will faithfully and honorably
conduct myself
conduct myself
in the office of East Commissioner, Position 5,
in the office of East Commissioner
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been elected.
So help me God. Congratulations. Michael Coles is our next as assessor. Raise your right hand. I, Michael C. Coles,
I am Michael C. Coles.
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will carry out the duties of office
to the office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Charter of Wayne County,
the Charter of Wayne County,
and the laws thereof.
and the laws thereof.
And that I will faithfully
And that I will faithfully
and honorably
and honorably
conduct myself in the office of assessor,
conduct myself in the office of assessor
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you. And last, Cindy Taylor. Judge, come forward. I, Cindy L. Taylor,
I, Cindy L. Taylor,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will carry out the duties of office
that I will carry out the duties of office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Charter of Wayne County,
the Charter of Wayne County,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof.
and that I will faithfully
That I will faithfully
and honorably
and honorably
conduct myself in the office of Justice of the Peace,
conduct myself in the office of justice
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been elected.
So help me God. Congratulations. And one last round of applause for all of our Mr. Chair, back over to you. I thank you again.
Congratulations to our newly oldly elected officials. Each one of them has a few words to say. I'm going to ask them to speak in the reverse order of their swearing in. So see how good they are at being elected officials. In reverse order, please, Cindy.
The word of the hour is thank you. I'd like to thank the residents of Lane County for placing their confidence in me for 30 years, and that's about it. Thank you.
Our assessor, Mike.
I wish to thank the voters of Lane County for entrusting me in the important position of assessor, and I look forward to serving 4 more years as the assessor. Thank you.
Commissioner Stewart.
Oh, good evening. It's great to be here. Commissioner Parr, he pulled a fast one on me. I thought for sure that I was going to be able to hear some great speeches from Commissioner Belzovich and Lycan, and all the pressure would be off and I just get up here. But first, kind of like on the campaign trail, but I want to first of all thank the voters of East Lane County, the citizens, for re-electing me. I have served 10 years as commissioner, and I will tell you it's the most rewarding, aside from being a dad and having kids, it's probably the most rewarding time that I've had, and being able to help people. I wouldn't be able to do this without my wife Tammy, so thank you, Tammy. And I'd also like to thank my colleagues. It's truly a pleasure to serve with all of them. I enjoy the diversity on the board. I enjoy the thoughtfulness, and nothing that we have tackled, it seems to me, nothing's easy. Everything is difficult, hard, and challenging. But what I appreciate about the colleagues I serve with, they stand up and we do our best to create the best atmosphere, community, and county that we can. I have truly enjoyed the last 6 months getting to work with Steve Mokaiski, our county administrator. He has, I hope you'll find and agree that he's doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to 4 more years of working with him. Hopefully he'll stay here that long. But, we have a lot of challenges, and I just, like everything, just work really hard, take them day by day. We have lots of issues, whether it's resources, we have public safety, we have public health, creating a vibrant economy and job creation. Those are all things that are steadfast and first and foremost on trying to create the best place for us to live in Lane County with opportunities so that our kids have opportunities in the future. A few things that I'd like to focus on personally is recently, if we're working on doing assessments in our planning and building department. I'm excited about that opportunity of hopefully finding ways to improve our service and being able to be more responsive, and hopefully not be a point in time where we're holding up a project that needs to be moving forward to help our citizens. And first and foremost is just helping the citizens. They're number one, and I hope that they feel that they're number one when they come to me and when they need assistance and help. And lastly, I want to thank the employees of Lane County. This is a great organization. We have about 1,300 employees that are working hard every day for all the citizens, doing a great job, and I appreciate that. And lastly, I want to just thank the Lord for giving me the opportunity to be here. So thank you.
Commissioner Lycan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate it. I was not kidding when I told Judge Rasmussen this is going to be pretty short. Usually when you scream in a football game, it's a really tight game, not when you're leading by 30. But it happens. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the citizens of the Springfield District and for re-electing me to my second term here and really appreciate it. First and foremost, my wife, Debbie's here. My oldest son, Zach, is here tonight. And by the way, when I first was in public office, he was just turned 6. And today he's 22. And my youngest son, Gabe, is actually working tonight, couldn't be here, but I want to say thank you for their incredible support over the years, all my years in public office. And without them, it would be really very much a challenge. I also want to take this time and say thank you to Councilor Moore and Charlene Ray for really running what I call a classy, issues-oriented campaign. I know Councilor Moore's here tonight. I just want to say thank you for that. As we look forward, I think there's a lot there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And we're starting to finally come out of this recession a little bit. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I pledge to you that Lane County will be and continue to be in pole position so that we are in a position to work with our partners, because moving forward, it's about partnerships. Partnerships with our federal government, our state government, and our local partners. And that means all 12 of our incorporated cities, as well as our rural citizens. It's going to be very, very important to work together to move forward. And I look forward to that. Unfortunately, this is about all the strength of my voice I have tonight, but I want to say thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here, and God bless you all. Thanks.
Commissioner Bozievich.
Well, first I want to say thank you to the voters of Lane County for giving me the nickname of Commissioner Landslide. Actually, there's a commissioner in Polk County that only won by 8 votes, and we took that over from me at AOC. That's the Association of Oregon Counties. Seriously, I do appreciate the confidence the voters have placed in me for another 4 years of service. And I truly appreciate the employees of Lane County, whose great work I get to take credit for when I'm out on the campaign trail. They're really, why we're successful as Lane County. But yeah, I'm going to be pretty short. I'm not in for a long speech here tonight. I want to spend just a minute to say thank you to my wife Elizabeth, who's here tonight. She had to put up with me changing jobs for a major cut in pay. Engineers make more money than commissioners, and had to put up with what she hears about me in the press and some of the things that aren't necessarily true, and has to hear me rant and rave when I come home and about the issues and how people don't understand this, or they whatever. But she's really the one that's been the support. It's her hard work that allowed me the financial freedom to run for this position. She runs her own company. She's one of those entrepreneurs out there, signs the front side of paychecks every week, and I really appreciate her support. So thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you to the newly elected officials. And I'd like to point out that, as the outgoing chair, I have a chance to stand at the mic, and as newly reappointed elected officials, each of the 3 commissioners who you just met, who just saw up here, had a chance to speak at the mic. We have one other commissioner, Commissioner Sorensen, sitting behind me right here. And so while he's not going to be at the mic, and he has a live mic, so he can speak anytime, but I just want to talk a little bit about Commissioner... Just very briefly about Commissioner Sorensen. I am the newest commissioner. Commissioner Sorensen is the most seasoned commissioner. He's been with us for 16 years now. You thought he was 10, okay. Seems like 20. And the reason I say that is because Commissioner Sorensen, it seems that he's always been there. He's reliable in pointing out history, he's reliable in pointing out things that have worked and have not worked in the past. And each of the rest of us, as well as staff, do rely on Commissioner Sorensen for his strong leadership, his very well-seasoned remarks, and very temperate addressing of all the issues that we deal with. So Commissioner Sorensen, thank you very much. Well, I'm not wearing a green and yellow tie. Does anybody know what color this is? It's garnet. It's called garnet. Now, does that ring a bell to anybody? Florida State wears garnet. I don't mind wearing garnet today. I would not have worn it last week. So as Mayor Piercy, I overheard her say earlier in the day in front of a large group of people, "Go Ducks." She got a good reaction. And so along with the Ducks, I'd like to thank Matt Roberts for being here representing the University of Oregon. Congratulations on the victory and congratulations on the direction we're going, Matt. Thank you very much. You know, this is my second year on the city council, how many times have I done that? My second year on the county commission and my first year as the board chair. And so I was a little bit shaky going into it. You know, I'd never really held a gavel before. When Mayor Lycan became Commissioner Lycan, he became commissioner chair his second year also. But he'd spent years and years and years with a gavel in his hand. So he stepped up there and knew exactly what to do. Well, I needed help. And I needed help from everybody who was seated beside me and everybody seated around me. So before I talk about the state of the county, I just wanted to talk about the help that I did receive. Commissioner Stewart was the vice chair this year. And without Commissioner Stewart being in those agenda meetings, and without Commissioner Stewart's, once again, his historical view of things that have worked and haven't not worked, it would have been very, very difficult for me to function as the chair of this board of directors. So Commissioner Stewart, thank you very much for that. I'd also like to point out that Commissioner Bozevich is very meticulous in the way he handles things. If I said the wrong word or introduced things the wrong way, Commissioner Bozevich later would always very gently say, "Didn't you mean to say?" And I'd say, "Oh yeah, that is what I meant to say, Commissioner Bozevich." And so Jay has been a real pillar of strength for me, and I'd like to thank you, Jay, for all the help that you've given me this year as the chair. And as I mentioned, Commissioner Lycan came in with many years of experience as an elected official, and he was the immediate past chair for 2 consecutive years. So he was able to lean upon me, letting me know what did work and what didn't work as far as how to get around the building in what was only my second year as a county commissioner. So thank you very much for that, Commissioner Lycan. And I've already pointed out how valuable Commissioner Sorensen has been to me. Commissioner Sorensen is an attorney and brings a legal view to things that none of the rest of us really possess. And so he quite often is able to say things, particularly in executive session, which we're not allowed to talk about, that makes us all really think about how we're proceeding and how we're going forward with things. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Sorensen for always being there and always being at the right hand of every person who's needed help in the county. Thank you very much, Commissioner Sorensen. And I'm going to take a moment to mention, now, first thing I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you know in a few minutes what I'm really disappointed in. There are a couple of things that I'm really, really disappointed that didn't happen this year. But I'll tell you those in a moment. What I'm going to talk about first is some of the good news that I received throughout the year, and I'm going to do it in the form of mentioning a couple of staff members and the way they deliver good news to me. A lot of good things happened this year. A lot of good things happened this year. First person I'd like to point out is John Ahrens. John, are you in here? There he is, John. See, I went through the list of the staff members that I wanted to talk about, and it's a long list of people that I wanted to talk about, but I looked at my list of emails, and who sends me the most emails, and which ones do I enjoy reading the most? Well, I enjoy John's emails, and one of the great emails that I received from John was discussing when we passed the public safety levy, we added 16 beds out on MLK into the juvenile justice system, juvenile justice facility. Now, what John pointed out to me and continues to point out to me is that this is not detention. This is a place for youth to avoid the potential of future detention. So the work the work we're able to do with those 16 new beds added, and all the messages that I've received from John regarding this, it's absolutely stellar. We have young men and women who are going through a brief period of time at MLK right now who are avoiding potentially slipping into a much more dangerous situation. I'd like to thank John and the entire staff of MLK for that. Thank you, John. The next person I'd like to point out is someone else who gives me good news on a regular basis, and that's Glenda Poling. Glenda's in our Economic Development Department, and, we've had a pretty high unemployment rate in Lane County for quite some time, and it's been lingering. So one of the things that Glenda does is she recruits. She goes out and helps us try to bring new companies to the area. But very significantly, the thing that Glenda does is make certain that the existing companies in this area receive the help that they need, sometimes in the form of a small loan, a low-interest loan, sometimes in the form of a small grant, but making certain that the small companies in Lane County are able to thrive and really give us a stable platform for any new additions that may be coming to the county. I received an email from Glenda last year about 300 jobs that we added in Veneta, and it's a pretty amazing news that we received that day, and it's not the only jobs that Glenda's told me about, but I'd like to point out that one in particular. So thank you, Glenda, and thank you for the entire department. Carrie Carver. Carrie's here from the Sheriff's Department, and I'd like to, there you are, right in front. Carrie sends me emails 2, 3, 4, 10, 15 times a week, it seems, and in the last year, it's been good news. Now, prior to that, when Carrie would send me emails, I would get depressed because the numbers that I received in Carrie's emails was how many prisoners were released pre-trial, how many prisoners were booked and released, the revolving door at the jail. They'd come in the front door, get booked, walk out the back door, and sometimes within half an hour, within an hour, recommit the crimes, right back out on the street. Well, the last year, Carrie's been giving me much better news than that. In fact, the kind of news that she's been giving me is that we have 0 pre-trial releases of Measure 11 arrests. We also have reduced significantly the pre-trial releases and the post-booking releases. So I love getting Carrie's emails, and I love hearing from the Sheriff's Department in particular, because we really have, amid some of the things that I'm going to talk about later, we have great news that people are staying behind bars who have earned time behind bars. Thank you, Carrie. Then I'd also like to point out Alicia Hayes. Now, Alicia does all kinds of good things, and Alicia served as our interim administrator for over a year, or about a year. I'll be corrected later on that one. But Alicia, one time, sends me all kinds of emails. I got lots of emails from Alicia, but the one that really stands out is when she pointed out to me that we had just received assistance in building a new federally qualified health center, an FQHC, which we opened this year. With the help of Trillium, which is our coordinated care organization, Alicia invited me to be the speaker as we opened the new Brookside medical facility in West Eugene. Now, what's significant about that? Well, we have a lot of people who are signing up for new medical programs. A lot of people, in fact, 90% of all Oregonians now have a medical program. That's pretty good news. But we have a real dearth of primary care physicians and primary care nurse practitioners. Opening a new FQHC allowed us to treat hundreds and hundreds more. I don't have the exact number right here in front of me, but hundreds more people who otherwise would not be able to receive primary care. So thank you for that good news, and thank you for the continuing good news from your department, Alicia. So I really, it take me all day to mention the staff members that really have made a difference to me, but I'd like to mention Diana Jones. Diana works in the administration office, and I'm not sure what her job is, because she does pretty much everything. She arranged for this to happen tonight. She told me when to be here, when to not be here, what to say, what not to say, and I've forgotten most of it, but she keeps nudging me. Diana Jones has been essential to the administration office, and I'd like to really thank Diana for the year of service that she's given to me and been there every time I turn the corner. The most important thing I get from Diana is I'll sit in the board meetings and I have my phone propped up. And the cool thing about it is I get these messages from Diana saying, you forgot to fill in the blank. Don't forget to fill in the blank. You shouldn't have fill in the blank. So Diana's been instrumental in making sure that I at least know what the straight and narrow is, whether or not I'm able to stay on it. So thank you, Diana. So, it's been a banner year for Lane County. It's been a really good year. A lot of really tremendous things have happened, and I'll get into that in a moment. I mentioned that I'm disappointed, and I am very disappointed in a couple of things. The first thing I'm disappointed in is that every single vote that we took as county commissioners, you may not have noticed this, but not every vote was 5-0. Not every vote was unanimous. I'm supposed to laugh at that one. But I will point out that in my time as county commissioner, of all the commissions and boards that I've served on in the past, I've never seen a higher percentage of unanimous votes as we do have as a county commission. We agree on a great many things, and when we do disagree, it really is a substantive discussion that we have. And I've been on the losing side of minority votes. I've been on the majority side of split votes, and no matter what the vote is, each time each one of us votes, we have a reason to vote in that fashion, and we are able to articulate that in a way that everybody understands. So I said I'm disappointed in that. I'd love to have 100% 5-0 votes. Never going to happen, so don't count on that and don't hold your breath. But what I am really disappointed in is it's called PILT, Payments in Lieu of Taxes. Now, years ago, Lane County was a county that harvested a lot of timber. Sometimes it was done in clear cut, sometimes it was done very broadly. In recent years, very little timber is harvested in Lane County on a regular basis. And the problem for us with that is that 50% of the county is owned by the federal government. In the past, the federal government has given us payments in lieu of taxes. They don't pay property tax on the half of Lane County that they own. Payments in lieu of taxes based upon timber yield. Well, in that we have very little timber yield, for the last dozen or so years, perhaps reaching back a little bit further than that, they've given us payments in different forms, secure rural schools being the most recent form of payments that the federal government has paid us, given to us. But it's always iffy as to whether or not we're going to get it. It's always iffy as to whether or not we're going to get, how much we're going to get if we do get it. And this year, we're once again on the bubble. We don't know if we're going to receive secure rural schools payments in lieu of taxes. Now, we do know that we're not going to receive taxes on the property that the federal government owns here in Lane County. It's not going to happen. And as you all know, when Measure 5 and Measure 47/50 hit, we had a property tax limitation that makes it so that Lane County can never be at the same taxing levels as, for instance, Multnomah County, which has not only more valuable land, but it's predominantly owned by the private sector. So Multnomah County receives a lot more taxes than we receive, not only more dollars, but a higher rate of taxes. We're not only not getting those taxes, we're not getting the payment in lieu of taxes from the federal government. It's a disappointment to me. It's fiercely disappointing to me. I see Sheriff Tom Turner sitting back there closing his eyes because the money that we receive from secure rural schools and we used to receive from timber is the money that we spend on that goes into our general fund, the money that pays for the sheriff's department, for instance, the money that really funds public safety in Lane County. And right now we're at a point where at any one point in the day, there is one deputy covering all of Lane County on patrol. Now think about that. Lane County stretches from the top of the Three Sisters to the bar on the Siuslaw River. That's a long way for one deputy to travel. And if there's a rural armed robbery, for instance, or somebody is shot in rural Lane County, a deputy has to be there. Law enforcement has to be there, not just the EMTs. So our deputies aren't able to respond. If we don't receive those payments this year, there's a likelihood, and it's a very, very sad likelihood, that there will be times of the day, days of the week, that we have 0 sheriff's deputies on patrol in Lane County. Now think about that. A county the size of Connecticut, a county about the size of Wales, almost half the size of England, without even one deputy on road patrol. So what does that mean? What do we have to do? How can we counter this? Well, each one of us as a commissioner has relationships with our federal delegation, and it's the federal government that decides as to whether or not we're going to receive the payments in lieu of taxes and how much we're going to receive. So what we have to do, and what we all try to do, and what we would encourage everyone in Lane County to do, is make sure that our congressional delegates, our representatives and our senators understand how important it is to Lane County, to the survivability of public safety in Lane County, that we get a sustained flow of payments in lieu of taxes. And you can do that by any way you can. Just contact your congressman or contact one of the two senators and let them know that, Oregon is a great national park, don't you think? People come here and visit. So when our congressmen and when our senators are arguing for funding in Lane County, the people that they're talking to don't really understand the urgent need of what we have in Oregon. They think of Oregon as a beautiful place to visit, not a place where we want our kids to grow up, not a place where we want our grandchildren to be able to drive safely on our roads. So contact your congressman, contact your senators, and let them know that this is important to Lane County. So it has been a banner year. What did we do this year? What did we do that was good? Now, I mentioned the disappointments. Mostly, I'm really happy. One of the first orders of the agenda, one of the first things we had to do this year was hire a new administrator. So we've conducted a national search. We looked from coast to coast, literally from coast to coast, and did an extensive search, and we ultimately hired Steve Mokrahysky. Steve is in the room with us, and you'll see him on the video. Steve, where are you? Right in front of me. And, when we hired Steve, shortly after Steve accepted the job, he called me when I was getting off a plane. And he said, I accept the job, and I was pretty happy with that. Before he told me, he told his former commissioners from Douglas County in Nevada. So I went to a meeting, and a couple of his commissioners from Douglas County in Nevada were in this same meeting. Now, that was a tense moment. And they weren't particularly happy with me because they didn't want him to leave. And what that told me, the nasty looks that I got initially from those guys was, hey, we made the right decision. And we did make the right decision. Steve Mokrahysky. So what's happened with Steve on the job? Well, the first order of business for Steve was to make certain that his staff was filled. And Steve's taken time this year to make certain that all of the leadership positions in the staff have been filled. We have we have actually 4 administrative positions that were filled this year. Marcia Edwards, who's our new Human Resource Director. Is Marcia with us? Hi, Marcia. Mike Finch, who is our information officer. Mike is, I saw Mike earlier. I'm glad you're not right in front of me. We have George Russell, who is administrative support. And George is here. Thank you, George. And most recently hired, began work, I believe today was his first actual day on the job, is Josh Kincaid, who is actually administrative support. And George, I'm sorry, George is management services. Josh Kincaid is our administrative support. Is Josh with us here this evening? So, yeah. You can call me Larry if you want. All right. So I'd like to thank Steve for that. The other thing that was really important to Steve is to make certain that our government was open and available for anybody who wanted to peer inside of it. So one of the first things that Steve did was he made certain that our front office was going to be open every hour that the building was open. That is to say, from 8 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday. Previous to Steve being here, we were open from 8 to 5 but closed for lunch on Monday through Thursday, 8 till noon on Friday. So there's a good possibility that if somebody got off work in the afternoon on Friday and came, I've just got a few minutes to get in there and fill in the blank, we'd be closed for business. Steve didn't like that. None of us liked it, and Steve took care of it. So we now have an office that's open all the time. The other thing you'll notice if you step into our front office is we have a kiosk in there where anybody from the public can come in and access, for instance, emails between county commissioners. I believe they're able to access that, and also apply for permits, jobs, etc., right there in our front office, and receive a certain amount of technical support in doing that. We've never had that before. So Steve Mokrahysky did that for us. And significantly, we also had an issue with people wanting to conduct public meetings in our public service building. We didn't really have a space that was available for them. So Steve found a conference room. It's the conference room down in our cafeteria where people can come in and for just a service fee, basically, have public meetings right inside the public service building. So Steve has brought openness to government, and we will continue that this year. Thank you, Steve. So it has been a banner year for Lane County. The other thing that we really were looking for is a new strategic plan. We had a strategic plan in place, which had been adhered to. But Steve came on board, and another one of his first items of business was making certain that we had a strategic plan that everybody inside of the organization contributed to, and everybody in the organization understood. So we developed a strategic plan, and we now have that plan in place. There are 3 pillars in the strategic plan, and it's excuse me, I'm going to talk about the strategic plan in just a few minutes, but there are 3 pillars in the strategic plan. The strategies are what we are, what our long-term goals that we adhere to, and they will not change as we move down the road, and the tactics will change as we conduct our strategic plan. That is to say, tactics are very liquid, and they can change from day to day, very dynamic. The 3 pillars of the strategic plan are a safe and healthy county. Now, what does a safe and healthy county mean? Well, it means that Tom Turner is able to do his job. It also means that Alicia Hayes is able to do her job. That's our Health and Human Services Department, and that's our Sheriff's Department. So we need to make sure that the policies that we have inside of the county allow them to do their jobs in a way that satisfies the needs of the public. I mentioned that we did pass the sheriff's levy, and with that, Sheriff Tom Turner was able to open 125 new jail beds, once again keeping people who had been arrested for crimes behind bars and away from the streets and unable to recommit those crimes. Also part of that levy was the 16 beds in our juvenile facility that I mentioned. Alicia has Alicia's department, Health and Human Services, put together what we call our Community Health Improvement Plan, and it's a plan that we have all bought into as county commissioners. It really is a plan for the future to make Lane County the healthiest county in the nation. Now, we're not there yet. We have a lot of work to do before we're the healthiest county in the nation. But some of the things that we're intending to do is reduce nicotine and tobacco use. And we've taken a big step in that direction just recently by passing what has been called by some the strongest, most powerful e-cigarettes ordinance in the nation. So now, 12-year-old kids can, or in 30 days when the ordinance takes effect, 12-year-old kids can no longer go in and buy a vial of nicotine poison that's labeled gummy bears and share it with their siblings. Just before we passed the ordinance, a child in New York died from drinking a vial of the nicotine. Nicotine's poison, and it was legal for kids to go into stores and buy it. So that is helping us to reduce the dependence on nicotine and reduce people from starting smoking cigarettes, particularly kids. The next thing that we're doing is reduce and prevent substance abuse. We're passing laws and ordinances and especially making certain that people who are suffering from the ill effects of substance abuse receive the treatment that they need to receive. Rather than being outcast and pushed aside, people need treatment. So we're implementing new ways to make certain that people are treated for substance abuse rather than allow them to continue the downward spiral that is alcohol and other drug abuse. We are focused on reducing obesity, slowing the increase of obesity very specifically. And very importantly, improving health care access for everybody in Lane County, making sure that everybody's able to access health care. The second of our pillars is vibrant communities. Now, what vibrant communities means is it's a place where people like to live. Now, why do you like to live in a particular place? Now, think about that for a moment. I like to live there maybe because the river is clean, right? Or maybe because the air is clean. Maybe because I've got a job. Maybe that's the most important thing. So a large part of vibrant communities is introducing and bringing prosperity into the communities in Lane County, making certain that people who live in Oak Ridge, people who live in Eugene, people who live in Florence have an opportunity to work. We do that by, once again, bolstering the small businesses that are currently in Lane County and making certain that we try to attract new businesses to Lane County. So vibrant communities is putting people to work, giving people choices, and making people happy to live here. Another part of vibrant communities is something that we don't always like to talk about. We have people who live in our communities who don't have an address. We have people who live in our communities who at night don't have a place to go. We have veterans coming home from foreign wars in our communities that are homeless. A vibrant community doesn't allow for anybody to live on the street. What we need to do as a community is make certain we recognize ways to help people get off the street. Now, there are ways to do that through building more entry-level housing. But the other thing that we can do is make certain that people who would rather not live on the street have an option and a way to move through the system. Mayor Piercy and I have started an initiative, particularly with homeless veterans, and it's Project 365. By Memorial Day next year, we expect to place 365 veterans and their families in homes and reduce the number of homeless veterans in Lane County to 0. That's a big goal. Now, people ask me why I have a beard. You know, I worked at Jerry's for a lot of years. We didn't allow beards. I was in the Army for a lot of years. We didn't allow beards. But now I have a beard. Why do I have a beard? Well, Grow November, right? Well, no, it wasn't. I started this right after November. It's when we first started talking about homeless veterans. And I decided that I wasn't going to shave my beard off until we placed 60 veterans by raising $60,000 and placing them into housing. And we're well on our way. And I hope that between all of us in this room, soon I can shave this beard off. Because I don't like it. Then the third is infrastructure, and this is something I'm going to talk about a little bit. What is infrastructure? Well, you think about what is the infrastructure of Lane County. Now, we all drive here in Lane County, right? Our greatest infrastructure investment is that in our roads. You drive around the city, you're on the streets. You drive from Oak Ridge to Florence. You want to do it safely? Of course you want to do it safely. Do you want to do it on smooth roads? Of course you want to do it on smooth roads. So we need to make sure that we are taking care of our existing infrastructure without really going out of our way to build new infrastructure. We're not about building new roads. We're not about building new bridges. We're about taking care of the ones that we have. And so this year there'll be a major focus on making certain that we are able to repair the roads, to keep the roads in good repair, and not have to dig deeper once the time comes to fix the roads. Now, if you have a roof on your house at home, and I hope you do, you know that if you have a 25-year roof and you replace it at 24 years, they'll be able to put the new roof over the old one, and you'll have pretty good success. But if you wait 2 more years, probably they're going to have to strip that old roof off at 2 or 3 times the cost to put the new roof on. Maybe once they strip the old roof off, they're going to find the sheathing is damaged. Maybe once they replace the sheathing, they'll find the trusses and the ceilings are damaged. So the longer you wait to repair your roof, the more it's going to cost you to repair your roof. Same thing with the roads, same thing with bridges. The longer you wait, the more it's going to cost to do that. So we need to find ways this year to make sure that we are able to take care of our public infrastructure, which is roads, buildings, and bridges. We have over 400 bridges in Lane County. We have over 1,400 miles of roadway, about 2,800 lane miles of roadway in Lane County. That's a lot. And when you think about it, it's the size of Connecticut. When you and your grandchildren, when you and your children want to drive from, let's say, Westford to, let's say, Dune City, you want to do it safely. And that's a part of taking care of our infrastructure, is making sure that people can drive safely in Lane County. So looking to the future, what are we going to do for the future? Now, we're going to continue to build public trust. When I took this office, when I decided that I was going to run for county commissioner, one of the things that I talked about was restoring the trust in the county commission. Historically, the county commission and the Lane County itself has enjoyed a really high level of trust in the community. A number of things happened beyond most people's control that eroded the trust, and that trust was eroded further when due to circumstances we had to go through a change in leadership in Lane County. So how do we restore trust? Well, one of the ways we do it is what Steve Walker-Heisky has done. He has stepped forward and made sure that everything that we do is visible, that people know what we're doing. Another thing that we're going to do, this week we're doing the final interviews for hiring an auditor for Lane County. It'll be an auditor that reports to the Board of County Commissioners. It's a position that used to be filled years ago in Lane County, but this auditor will make certain that the public knows that we are doing things right. And if we need to make adjustments in the way we're doing things, the will know about those adjustments and know why we need to do them. So sometime this week, maybe as late as next week, we'll be hiring a new auditor, a brand new position in the county. Another thing we can do to restore trust is equity, making sure we treat people correctly, making sure we treat people the same way, making sure that we take care of the next generation, whatever language we speak, whatever country we came from, however old we are, whatever our socioeconomic level may be, we need to take care of the next generation. We need to provide equity and make sure we're giving everybody the same opportunity in this county. That's an important thing for Steve Moker High School. It's an important thing for every one of the county commissioners, and we will be moving forward with that this year. Thank you. Working with the other jurisdictions, we have a few dollars. I've talked about our diminishing dollars. And so what we need to do is make certain that when we work with other local jurisdictions, whether it be the city of Eugene, other cities, whether it be with fire districts, whoever it may be, that we're maximizing our efforts, that we're pulling together toward the same goal. And wherever possible, eliminate unneeded commissions and consolidate them into one. I'd like to mention a new commission that started this year. It's called the Poverty and Homelessness Commission. Poverty and Homelessness Board. It's very important. It replaced a couple of other commissions that Lane County had, the Community Advisory Committee and the Continuum of Care Committee. And we're going to be, it's a high-level committee, a high-level commission. It's staffed by a member of government from Springfield, and it's also staffed by a member of government from the city of Eugene, which is Kitty Piercy, sitting in front of me. Mayor Lundberg has appointed a city councilor to Sean Van Gordon is the Springfield commissioner. Also, one of the members of the commission is Val Hoyle, who is the House Majority Leader. So this is a commission that reaches deeply into the policy-making areas of the jurisdictions that it will be serving. There are also rural commissioners on the rural representatives on the board, and members of the public and members of different professional groups. So this is a committee that already has made huge strides. One of the first meetings that we had, the committee kind of took me aside, or didn't take me aside, maybe sent out from the room and said, these are the things that we think that Lane County could do. And one of the things they asked for was a rest stop. Now, are you familiar with the rest stop concept? Well, rest stops are, it's hard to, if you've not seen one, you don't really know what they are. It's a place for people to sleep safely. Sleep behind a fence, under a shelter, and sleep safely at night without having to worry who may be coming down the street. Now, it's not an impromptu gathering such as those that may be called Whoville, and it's not an impromptu gathering such as the Occupy Eugene movement that took place. The rest stops are really designed to help people once again sleep safely and move forward to get their lives together to a point where they can potentially move into regular housing. And so I went to Steve Moker High School and I said, we're being asked if we can do a rest stop. We just opened a 32-unit rest stop, or in the process of opening a 32-unit rest stop out on MLK Boulevard. And it really is going to be a pillar for the community, something we should all be proud of, helping men and women, veterans and non-veterans, move on to the next step to get into housing. The reason I pointed out the rest stop is because the Poverty and Homelessness Commission is not a small-minded group. That is to say, we have big goals, big aspirations, and when right off the bat, we hit something really hard and we got results immediately. So the Poverty and Homelessness Commission will be working on exactly that, poverty and homelessness. It will be working with the Human Services Commission, which still is a commission, and we'll be putting people in housing. We'll be making sure people get fed, and we'll be making certain that Lane County is a vibrant place for everybody to live. One last thing, actually I've got two last things. One is my goals. What do I want to do this year? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that someplace close to the Castle Gate, we have a farmer's market year-round downtown. What do I mean by close to the Castle Gate? Well, I'm from England, and the farmers' markets are always someplace close to the Castle Gate. Well, the castle's the courthouse. It's the dead center of Lane County. It's the dead center of the city. Someplace within hailing distance of that, I have a goal to establish a farmers' market where the small businesses in Lane County, the farmers, can come and sell their goods. to sell healthy produce to people who want and need the healthy produce on a regular basis. That's one of my goals. And I have a goal of even greater collaboration with the other jurisdictions. I have a goal of no homeless veterans by the end of next year, by the end of this year. And I have a goal of making sure that everybody feels safe and healthy in Lane County. Lane County will be the healthiest county in the United States. That's the direction we're moving. Thank you very much, but I have one last favor to ask. Today is my last day as the chair of the board of county commissioners, and I did an inventory just before I left my office, and I have 128 business cards that say Pat Farr Chair. So if you would, on your way out, one last favor to me as the chair, pick up a business card, save it, you may need to recycle it someday. Thank you very much. And now the best part. You don't have to listen to me anymore, but we have a video showing you what really is great about Lane County. Thank you.
Next year, we're looking
Thank you very much. Brenda Berlin, please retire the colors. Please don't be seated. Thank you very much for coming this evening.